So in this video on the leads functionality in Microsoft Dynamics 365 for sales, we're going to cover off lead attribution and really how that sort of hangs together within Dynamics and why it's important. Now, this is one in a series that we've done specifically on the leads functionality in Dynamics. You can see links to others in the series below. Also, if you've got any suggested content ideas or you need any help with Microsoft Dynamics, please see the links below. So let's dive into the system and talk about attribution. So I'm in the leads area, and specifically I'm in the open leads area. So these are leads I haven't qualified as yet. And bearing in mind, typically our leads area is going to be a sort of holding area for data that we want to review before we commit it into the system. So I'm going to open up a lead record, in this case Jane Test. And I go into that, and that is my unqualified lead record. Now, there's some very basic information on there. There's a name, there's a company, and within the details tab on that record, I've just given it a very basic source campaign. There's a lot more sophisticated stuff we can do on this, but this is just to walk through the very basics. So if I just go back to my summary, I might review this record and decide I want to commit it to the system. And in order to do that, I need to qualify it. So I click qualify, and it's going to create me a new account or organization. It's going to create me a new contact or person, and it's giving me the option to create an opportunity, which is what I'm going to do. So if I now click qualify, that is now going to create those three records. And when I click finish now, it's actually going to jump me into the opportunity record I've created. Microsoft, being Microsoft, wants feedback at a time I don't want to give them it. So let's get rid of that. So we've now gone into an opportunity record, which looks very similar to the lead record itself. And I can see I've added this field because it's not in the out-of-the-box opportunity. It's a standard field, but it isn't by default displayed in the form, i.e. the fields that you can see as a user. That's something your admin or your implementer can add for you. And I've also put in the source campaign. You can see it's carried over the source campaign from the lead record. So we've got that link, we've carried over the details, and we've carried over the source campaign. Now, if I want to jump back to the originating lead, I just can click on that link there. I'm going to jump back into the lead record. Now, forgive me for jumping to and from records. Hopefully I don't lose you through the process here. And then if I go to the details area, you can see again, these are not, they're standard fields, but they're not by standard displayed on the form for some reason. So I've added all these in. These tell me the records that were created when I converted this lead. So I go and see that I've got new limited, and if I go to that and I go into the details, I can see the originating lead. So I'm just trying to show here that it all joins up, particularly if you surface the right fields on the forms, that we can see what records were created from the lead, and we can go to those records and see the originating lead. Now, where that gets interesting is if we jump to the opportunity, for example. So there's the opportunity that was created from the lead. I just jump to that opportunity. If I now set that as 1, and it's asking me to put in a value, and I'm going to put in 75,000. I'm going to OK that, and then that's going to close that opportunity as 1. So let me explain why that becomes interesting. So I go into the leads area, and I'm actually going to change my view to all leads. I can now build a query that says, give me all the leads that have resulted in a 1 opportunity. So we can just go to the edit filters here, and we can build out that query. So obviously in other videos we've done, we go into how to create these advanced filters, advanced finds. There's a lot of power to it, but it's not super intuitive. I'm going to not try and make this look too complicated, but I'm going to query based on a related entity, which is that parent opportunity. So I'm just effectively going to look for the right entity, which, or record type is probably best. One is the qualifying opportunities, and then I'm going to click status, find status equals 1. So effectively I'm looking for leads where we've got an opportunity that's being won, apply that, and I can see I've got 3 that appear there. And if I actually want to see the values of those, I can edit the columns, add column, look at the related, go to that qualifying opportunity area and pick the actual revenue and close that and apply that. And then we'll see the actual revenue there. So what we're trying to show here is that through attribution, we can convert a lead, we can see the relationship to the end contact, the end organization, and end opportunity. And if we close any of those opportunities, we can see the source lead. And if the lead had a campaign associated with it, or maybe we've carried over the UTM parameters or something like that, we've got that attribution flow all the way through the system. So now what we can start to do is not only handle the leads that come in, but we can join them up with one business, and we can start to see which of our marketing channels are the most productive. And the more we understand about which of our leads are converting into business, the more powerful it gets. Now it could get even more powerful, for example, if we can join the system up with our finance system, and then we can actually perhaps bring in sales data, order history into the CRM. So then we not only know which leads are converting into business, but we're also starting to get insights into lifetime value of customers, which customers are profitable customers and which aren't. So we're starting to get that sort of real picture as to where our investment in marketing is, whether that investment is working or not. And that information allows us to sort of focus in on the marketing channels that are most productive and invest in those and take money away from channels that aren't productive. Anyway, hopefully that gives you an insight into some of the basics of attribution. I think Microsoft make it a little bit more complicated than it needs to be by hiding some of these fields by default, but they exist. You can just case in adding them to the form and being aware that you can map this journey from beginning to end. Anyway, hopefully that's been helpful. As I say, this is one of the series we've done specifically on the leads functionality within Dynamics. You can see links to other in the series below. Also, if you need any help with Microsoft Dynamics, or you're going to suggested content ideas, please fill out the links. Please see the links below. Anyway, thanks very much for your time today, and hopefully see you again soon.